You're about to walk onto that cruise ship in a few hours, and I need to stop you right now before you make the same costly mistakes I see first-time and veteran cruisers make every single embarkation day. I've watched passengers lose hundreds of dollars, miss their ship entirely, and turn what should be an exciting day into a nightmare of stress and regret. The difference between a smooth sailing and a disaster often comes down to what you do in those critical first few hours. What I'm about to share with you will save you serious money and headaches, and honestly, the cruise lines don't want you knowing some of these secrets. Let me tell you about the biggest embarkation day mistake that costs cruisers a fortune. You arrive at the port, breeze through check-in, and immediately head straight to the bar or buffet because you're excited and your room won't be ready for hours. Here's what's actually happening while you're sipping that $15 cocktail. Your luggage is sitting in a massive pile somewhere on the ship, and it might not reach your cabin until 5 or 6 in the evening, sometimes even later on turnaround days with high occupancy. That means no medications, no sunscreen, no swimsuit, no change of clothes for the entire afternoon. I watched a family on a Carnival cruise spend over $200 replacing toiletries and buying logo swimwear from the shop because Dad packed all their essentials and checked luggage. The mom needed her prescription medication and had to visit the medical center, which added another consultation fee. What you need to do is pack a carry-on bag with everything you'll need for the first 6 to 8 hours on board. Medications, swimsuit, sunscreen, change of clothes, phone chargers, and any valuables should never go in your checked luggage. Treat embarkation day like you're going to the beach for the afternoon, because essentially, that's exactly what you're doing. Most cruisers don't realize that the specialty restaurants and spa appointments book up fast, and I mean within hours of embarkation. You're thinking you'll explore the ship, settle in, and book that steakhouse reservation for later in the week. Wrong. By the time you wander over to the reservation desk or open the app, the prime dining times are completely gone. I sailed on Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Caribbean last year, and by 3 in the afternoon on embarkation day, every single evening slot at Chops Grille and Giovanni's Table was fully booked for the entire 7-day cruise. People who waited until day 2 were stuck with either 5 o'clock or 9:30 time slots, which nobody wants. The same thing happens with spa treatments, especially on sea days. Those couples massages and thermal sweet passes vanish like ice cream in the Caribbean sun. Here's what you do instead. Most cruise lines let you book specialty dining and spa appointments online 30 to 90 days before your cruise, depending on your loyalty status. Jump on those reservations the moment your booking window opens. If you didn't pre-book, make it your absolute first priority when you board. Skip the buffet, skip the champagne, and head straight to the reservation desk or open that cruise app before you even think about food. Lock in your restaurant reservations and spa treatments while everyone else is taking ship selfies and stuffing their faces with pizza. The muster drill timing is something that catches people off guard and ruins their embarkation day plans every single time. You're imagining boarding the ship, grabbing lunch, maybe hitting the pool, and having a relaxing afternoon before sail away. But here's the catch. Most cruise lines now require you to complete your muster drill within a specific time window, usually within the first few hours of boarding. Norwegian Cruise Line's system requires you to watch a safety video in your stateroom and then physically go to your muster station to get scanned. If you don't complete both steps before the deadline, you're getting phone calls, public address announcements with your name, and trust me, you don't want to be that person. I saw a couple on an MSC cruise who decided to take a nap right after boarding, slept through their muster requirement window, and got hauled out of their cabin by crew members because they were holding up the departure. The entire ship was waiting on them, and the embarrassment was real. Royal Caribbean's digital muster system is slightly more flexible, but you still need to complete it and get your SeaPass card scanned at your assembly station. Don't assume you can do this whenever you feel like it. Check your cruise app or the daily planner as soon as you board to see your specific muster drill deadline. Complete it early, get it out of the way, and then enjoy the rest of your afternoon without anxiety. This is non-negotiable, and delaying it is just asking for stress you don't need on vacation. Here's something that's going to save you $100 or more on embarkation day. The ship's restaurants, buffet, and room service are all included in your cruise fare, but most people panic and waste money on overpriced airport food or port area restaurants before boarding. You're sitting in the cruise terminal at 11 in the morning, starving because you skipped breakfast to catch your flight, and you see a sad little cafe charging $18 for a mediocre sandwich. Don't do it. Once you board that ship, even if your stateroom isn't ready, you have immediate access to unlimited food. The buffet is open. The main dining room often serves lunch, and you can order room service to any public area if you want to sit by the pool. I've watched families drop $60 to $80 on terrible terminal food when they could have boarded 15 minutes later and eaten like royalty for free. Carnival's Guy's Burger joint is firing up burgers the moment you step on board. Royal Caribbean has Sorrento's Pizza available all afternoon. Norwegian has multiple complimentary dining venues open from the start. If you're arriving at the port early and genuinely need to eat before boarding begins, hit a grocery store or pack snacks in your carry-on. Granola bars, fruit, and sandwiches from outside will cost you $5 instead of $50. Save your money for port excursions and drinks, not for tragic pre-cruise terminal food that you'll regret before you even finish it. The drink package decision on embarkation day is where I see cruisers lose the most money, and it goes both ways. Some people panic buy the unlimited drink package at embarkation because they feel pressured, without doing the math on whether they'll actually drink enough to break even. Others skip it entirely and then spend the whole cruise watching their bar tab climb into the stratosphere, wishing they'd committed earlier. Here's the truth about drink packages. Most cruise lines offer their best pricing when you purchase before the cruise, sometimes 30 to 40% cheaper than buying on board. But the embarkation day desk often runs a last-chance promotion that's still better than waiting until day 2. Carnival's Cheers package costs around $50 to $70 per person per day, depending on the season, and you need to drink at least 6 alcoholic beverages daily to break even when you factor in the mandatory gratuity. If you're a 2-drink-per-day person, you're literally throwing money away. I sailed with a couple on Royal Caribbean who bought the deluxe beverage package on embarkation day for both of them, spent over $1,000 for the week, and I watched them average maybe 3 drinks per day. They would have saved $400 paying as they went. Do the honest math before you commit. Calculate how many drinks you actually consume on a typical vacation day, not your fantasy cruise persona who's going to party from dawn to midnight. Check if your cruise line allows you to share bottles of wine or bring your own, because that might be your best value. And if you decide you do want the package, buy it before the ship leaves port if there's an embarkation day promotion, because prices often increase or availability disappears once you sail. Your cabin isn't ready when you board, and this frustrates first-time cruisers more than almost anything else. You walk onto the ship at noon, you're excited to see your stateroom, maybe unpack a little and freshen up. But your SeaPass key doesn't work yet, and there's a sign saying cabins will be ready by 1:30 or 2 o'clock. Some people just park themselves outside their cabin door like they're camping for concert tickets. Here's what experienced cruisers know. The first few hours on board are your golden opportunity to explore the ship without crowds. Grab those reservations I mentioned earlier and get oriented before the chaos of sail away. Your stateroom is going to be cleaned, inspected, and it's physically not ready no matter how much you want it to be. The cabin stewards are working as fast as they can, and hovering outside your door won't speed anything up. Instead, use this time strategically. Walk the entire ship and locate everything. Find your muster station so you're not confused later. Locate the specialty restaurants, the spa, the casino, the theater, and any venue you want to visit during the cruise. Figure out where the staircases and elevators are positioned so you can navigate efficiently all week. Grab your lunch, sit somewhere with a view, and review your cruise app for activity schedules and port information. When your cabin is finally ready, you'll get a notification on your app or an announcement, and then you can head down. You'll feel relaxed and informed instead of frustrated and impatient, and you'll have accomplished more in those 2 hours than most passengers do in 2 days. The ship's photographer is going to ambush you approximately 17 times on embarkation day, and if you're not careful, you'll end up with a $600 photo package you never wanted. You step on board, and immediately there's a photographer with a backdrop wanting your first day of cruise photo. Then there's the sail away photo. Then the captain's cocktail party photo. Then formal night photos. Before you know it, you've been photographed more than a celebrity at a movie premiere, and each package costs anywhere from $100 to $300 depending on the cruise line. Most cruisers don't realize the photos are already taken and stored in the system whether you buy them or not. On the last day of the cruise, Those prices often drop by 30 to 50% because the cruise line would rather get something than nothing. I watched the photo gallery on a Princess cruise go from $200 for a package down to $99 on disembarkation morning. If you genuinely want professional photos, bring your own outfits and props to make them special, but wait until the final day to purchase when the desperation discounts kick in. Better yet, bring a smartphone with a great camera and ask other passengers to take your photos at the same spots. You'll get authentic moments instead of forced smiles in front of fake backdrops, and you'll save hundreds of dollars. If the photographer catches you and takes your photo, just smile and keep walking. You're not obligated to buy anything, and don't let them guilt you with the "these are precious memories" speech. The sail-away party is Embarkation Day's grand finale, and missing it is honestly a mistake because it sets the tone for your entire cruise. As the ship pulls away from port, there's live music, dancing, cocktails flowing, and an energy that's absolutely electric. This is when the crew comes out to welcome you, the ship's horn blasts, and you watch the port shrink into the distance while everyone cheers. First-time cruisers often miss this because they're still in their cabin unpacking, taking showers, or dealing with luggage. Don't be those people. Sail away happens once per cruise, and it's one of those moments you'll remember years later. Get up on the open deck, preferably the top deck near the pool or the aft deck if you want a dramatic view of the wake. Grab a drink, even if it's just a soda or juice, and soak in the atmosphere. This is also a fantastic time to meet other passengers because everyone's in a celebratory mood and open to conversation. I've made friends at sail-away parties who became our dinner companions and shore excursion buddies for the entire week. The energy is contagious, and it shifts your mindset from travel mode into vacation mode instantly. Take videos, take photos, but mostly just be present in the moment. Once the ship clears the port and the party winds down, then you can go back to your cabin and finish settling in. You'll be glad you prioritized this experience over unpacking your socks. Here's a money trap that gets sprung on Embarkation Day that almost nobody talks about. The duty-free shops on board open as soon as the ship leaves international waters, and they're positioned in high-traffic areas so you can't avoid walking past them. The displays are gorgeous. The perfumes and liquor bottles sparkle under perfect lighting, and there are signs screaming about savings of 30 to 50% compared to land prices. It looks like an incredible deal, especially on items like premium alcohol, designer foie gras, and jewelry. But here's what most cruisers don't realize. Those compare-it prices are often inflated, and the actual savings are minimal or non-existent. I've price-checked the same bottle of Grey Goose vodka that was supposedly 40% off in the ship's shop, and it was actually $2 more expensive than my local liquor store back home. The jewelry is marked up so drastically that even with the cruise discount, you're still overpaying. And unless you're cruising from the US to foreign ports, you might not even get the duty-free benefit depending on customs regulations. The best time to buy anything in the ship's shops is the last day of the cruise when they run genuine clearance sales because they don't want to haul inventory back. If you see something you absolutely love on Embarkation Day, take a photo of it, note the price, and walk away. Check back on day 6 or 7 and see if the price has dropped. 9 times out of 10, it will. Save your Embarkation Day excitement for experiences, not impulse purchases in retail shops designed to capitalize on your vacation euphoria. The excursion desk gets slammed on Embarkation Day, and if you haven't pre-booked your shore excursions, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're thinking you'll scope out the options once you're on board, maybe talk to the excursion staff, and make decisions over the next day or two. The problem is that the best tours sell out incredibly fast, especially on sea day when everyone has time to book. That private beach excursion in Cozumel with limited capacity? Gone by dinner time on Embarkation Day. The authentic food tour in Italy that only takes 12 people? Fully booked weeks before the cruise even started. I've seen passengers miss out on bucket list excursions because they waited, and then they ended up stuck with whatever generic bus tour still had availability. Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian all allow you to book excursions online before your cruise, and you should absolutely take advantage of that. Research your ports of call before you leave home, read reviews, compare prices, and lock in your top choices. If you prefer to book third-party excursions through local operators for better prices and smaller groups, that's fine too, but do it before you board. Embarkation Day is not the time to start your research. You'll be overwhelmed, rushed, and you'll make decisions based on availability rather than what you actually want to do. Have your excursion plan finalized before you step onto that ship, and you'll spend your cruise looking forward to amazing port days instead of scrambling to find something, anything, that still has open spots. Most people completely ignore the daily planner and ship app on embarkation day, and then they spend the entire cruise confused about where they need to be and when. The ship is essentially a floating resort with dozens of activities, shows, dining times, and special events happening simultaneously. If you don't take 30 minutes on embarkation day to review the schedule and set up notifications, you're going to miss things you would have loved. That welcome aboard show in the main theater? You didn't know it was happening. The art auction with free champagne? You walked right past it. The Friends of Bill W. meeting that you specifically wanted to attend for support? You couldn't find it because you didn't check the compass. Download your cruise lines app before you leave home if you haven't already, and make sure it's working properly while you still have cell service or Wi-Fi. Once you board, open that app and scroll through every single day of your cruise. Bookmark activities you're interested in, set reminders for shows and dining times, and familiarize yourself with the ship's layout using the deck plans. Carnival's Hub app, Royal Caribbean's app, and Norwegian's app all have incredibly useful features, but they're worthless if you don't actually use them. I've watched people buy internet packages just so they could Google basic information about their ship that was literally in their free app the whole time. Spend that embarkation afternoon setting yourself up for success, and you'll navigate the cruise like a seasoned pro instead of wandering around lost and frustrated. Here's something that's going to shock you about embarkation day costs. If you didn't link a credit card to your account before boarding, you're going to waste precious vacation time standing in a massive customer service line fixing it. Every purchase on the ship, from drinks to excursions to spa treatments, gets charged to your SeaPass card, which is linked to a credit card or requires a cash deposit. If you skip this step during online check-in or there's a problem with your card, you can't buy anything until it's resolved. I watched a line at guest services on a Carnival cruise stretch down 2 decks on embarkation day, with people waiting 45 minutes to an hour just to link their payment method. That's 45 minutes you could have spent eating, exploring, or relaxing. The cruise line's website allows you to enter your credit card information during online check-in, usually available 90 days before sailing. Do this from home when you have time and patience, not on the ship when you're trying to enjoy your vacation. Double-check that the card you linked isn't expired and that it hasn't been replaced by your bank for security reasons. Make sure you notify your credit card company that you'll be traveling and using the card on a cruise so they don't flag your charges as fraud and decline them. If you prefer to use cash or debit, understand that most cruise lines require a significant deposit, sometimes $300 or more per person, and you'll need to visit guest services to set this up. Handle all payment logistics before embarkation day, and you'll avoid wasting time in lines when you should be starting your vacation. The Wi-Fi package decision is another embarkation day money trap that deserves your attention. You board the ship, your cell service drops off as you leave port, and suddenly you're disconnected from the world. The cruise line has Wi-Fi packages for sale, ranging from basic social media access to premium unlimited streaming, and the prices can be shocking. We're talking $15 to $30 per day per device, and for a family of 4 on a week-long cruise, that's potentially over $1,000 just to browse Instagram. But here's what the cruise lines don't advertise clearly. The Wi-Fi on ships is satellite-based, which means it's slow, it drops connections constantly, and it's frustrating even when you pay for premium packages. You're not going to stream Netflix or take Zoom calls reliably no matter what tier you buy. Most cruise lines offer better pricing if you purchase Wi-Fi packages before the cruise rather than on board, sometimes saving 30% or more. If you absolutely need to stay connected for work or family emergencies, buy the smallest package pre-cruise and use it strategically for email and messaging only. But honestly, consider whether you actually need internet for a week. This is your vacation, your chance to disconnect from work stress and social media drama. Use airplane mode. Enjoy being present with your travel companions, and save that $300 for something memorable in port. If you need to check in back home, wait until you're in port where you can find free Wi-Fi at cafes or use an international phone plan day pass. Don't let the cruise line guilt you into buying expensive internet packages on embarkation day when you're feeling vulnerable about being disconnected. Your embarkation day lunch buffet strategy matters more than you think, especially if you want to avoid crowds and actually enjoy your meal. Everyone boards the ship hungry and excited, and they all have the same idea. Hit the buffet immediately. By noon on embarkation day, the Lido Deck buffet looks like a feeding frenzy, with long lines for food, no available tables, and chaos everywhere you turn. You're on vacation, and you're already stressed before you even get your first plate of food. Smart cruisers know there are better options. First, check if the main dining room is open for embarkation day lunch. Many cruise lines offer a sit-down lunch service with menus, waiter service, and a civilized atmosphere, while everyone else is fighting over pizza and burgers upstairs. You'll get better food, faster service, and a relaxing start to your cruise. Second, scope out the alternative dining venues. Royal Caribbean has Sorrento's Pizza, Cafe Promenade, and sometimes the Windjammer has less crowded sections. Carnival has Guy's Burger Joint and the Blue Iguana Cantina, which often have shorter lines than the main buffet. Norwegian's Garden Cafe can be mobbed, but Ocean's or the local bar typically serves food with way fewer people. Don't just follow the herd to the most obvious food location. Explore your options, find a hidden gem, and start your cruise without the stress of competing for chicken tenders with 3,000 other passengers. You'll eat better food in a better atmosphere, and you'll feel like you've already discovered an insider secret. The final embarkation day mistake I see constantly is people going overboard with unpacking and organizing their cabin, wasting hours of valuable ship time. You finally get access to your stateroom around 2 in the afternoon. Your luggage arrives by 5 or 6, and some cruisers spend the next 3 hours meticulously unpacking every single item, organizing drawers, and setting up their cabin like they're moving into an apartment. Meanwhile, the ship is offering activities, the pools are perfect, the sun is setting, and they're missing all of it. Your cabin is tiny no matter what category you booked, and you're going to be living out of your suitcase to some degree whether you like it or not. Unpack your essentials, toiletries in the bathroom, medications easily accessible, outfits for the next day hung up or laid out. Everything else can wait until later that night or even the next morning. You're not being graded on your organizational skills, and nobody's coming to inspect your drawer arrangement. The whole point of a cruise is to be out of your cabin experiencing the ship, not hiding in your room playing house. I've seen people miss the sail-away party, miss dinner seating, and miss the welcome show because they were obsessing over unpacking. Your cabin is for sleeping and showering. That's it. Get your immediate needs handled, and then get back out there and enjoy your cruise. You can organize your socks later when you're not missing once-in-a-cruise experiences that you'll regret skipping. So there you have it, 16 embarkation day do's and don'ts that will save you money, time, and frustration on your next cruise. These aren't theoretical tips. These are lessons learned from real experiences, real mistakes, and real successes that I've witnessed and lived through on dozens of cruises across multiple cruise lines. If you implement even half of these strategies, you're going to have a dramatically better embarkation day than 90% of the passengers boarding with you. You'll save hundreds of dollars, avoid massive crowds, secure the reservations and experiences you actually want, and start your vacation feeling confident and relaxed instead of stressed and overwhelmed. If this video helped you, smash that like button so more cruisers can find this information. Subscribe to the channel because I post new cruise tips, ship tours, and money-saving strategies every single week. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these tips surprised you the most, or share your own embarkation day horror story so other viewers can learn from your experience. And if you're wondering what mistakes to avoid once you're actually sailing, check out my next video about the biggest onboard spending traps that drain your cruise account faster than you can say, "I'm on vacation." Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.